Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Mark Lynn. Namaskar. Coming up in the next hour. At the CARICOM India Summit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi proposes comprehensive partnership with Caribbean nations, redefines CARICOM for capacity building to cricket. India and Guyana strengthen partnership through a series of agreements, ink MoUs in the field of health, hydrocarbons, agriculture, digital payments and pharmaceuticals. And the 55th edition of the International Film Festival of India opens with a glittering opening ceremony in Goa. Prasar Bharati launches an OTT platform called Waves. On the last leg of his three-nation visit, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Guyana. This is the first visit by an Indian Prime Minister there in 56 years. Prime Minister Modi co-chaired the second India-CARICOM Summit alongside the President Ali and also the Grenadian Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell, discussing collaborative opportunities as well as Caribbean nations' opportunities and potential. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that India has always tried to face global challenges along with the Caribbean countries, the CARICOM, and he added that the Caribbean nations can work on training women cricketers in India. CARICOM heads of government and India's Prime Minister had last met in 2019. This was on the margins of the 74th session of the United Nations General Assembly, where they discussed operational modalities, cooperation in renewable energy and also climate change through a $150 million credit line from India.
क्रिकेट हमारे देशों के बीच एक बहुत बड़ा और महत्वपूर्ण कनेक्टिंग लिंक है। इस वर्ष आपके यहाँ हुए T20 वर्ल्ड कप से भारतीय क्रिकेट फैंस का कैरेबियन की ओर आकर्षण और भी बढ़ा है और यह मैं सिर्फ इसलिए नहीं कह रहा हूं क्योंकि भारत ने यह विश्व कप जीता था। मेरा प्रस्ताव है कि क्रिकेट संबंधों के साथ साथ महिला सशक्तिकरण को बढ़ावा देने के लिए हम कैरिकॉम के हर देश से 11 युवा महिला क्रिकेटर्स की भारत में ट्रेनिंग कर सकते हैं।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi gave a new definition to CARICOM, focusing on capacity building, agriculture, food security, renewable energy, cricket and culture, and medicine. The Prime Minister stressed that India has put a proposal of opening Jan Aushadhi Kendras in Caribbean.
कैरिकॉम देशों की स्वास्थ्य सुरक्षा भारत के लिए उच्च प्राथमिकता का विषय रहा है। भारत में सामान्य मानवी को क्वालिटी एंड अफोर्डेबल हेल्थ केयर प्रदान करने के लिए जन औषधि केंद्र खोले हैं। मेरा प्रस्ताव है कि हम इस मॉडल पर कैरिकॉम के सभी देशों में जन औषधि केंद्र खोल सकते हैं। भारत और सभी देशों के बीच फार्माकोपिया को मान्यता देने के लिए समझौता संपन्न किया जाए तो इस प्रयास को गति ला सकते हैं।
During the India-CARICOM Summit, the Guyanese President Dr. Irfan Ali thanked Prime Minister Modi for his selfless attributes during the COVID times. And he added that ties between India and the Caribbean are deeply rooted in shared history and enduring cultural connections.
Having collectively this occasion to meet you face to face for the first time since COVID, to thank you and the people of India for your selfless attributes when you deliver to this region our first set of vaccines during the COVID pandemic. Under your visionary leadership, India has an influential voice in the international community. Your launching of the Voice of the Global South, your recent chairmanship of the Group of 20, India's pivotal role in BRICS, and your steadfast advocacy for the developing world underscores your commitment to advancing the aspirations of the Global South. These initiatives have elevated India's stature and placed the concerns of developing nations, including the small island developing and low-lying coastal states of the Caribbean, firmly on the global agenda.
In a boost to the long-standing development partnership with Guyana in the fields of health, connectivity, renewable power and water, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held delegation-level talks with the Guyana President Mohamed Irfan Ali in Georgetown on Wednesday. The leaders discussed bilateral cooperation in various fields, including trade and investment, and they exchanged views on global and regional matters. India and Guyana have taken significant steps to strengthen their partnership through a series of agreements spanning key sectors. Both leaders also witnessed the signing, and this is also the exchange of 10 MoUs. And in the healthcare sector, the Central Drugs Standard Control Organization and Guyana's Drug Authority, Regulatory Authority, they signed an MoU to ensure cooperation in the regulation of medical products. An MoU between Ministries of Petroleum and Natural Gas and Natural Resources of Guyana will enhance collaboration across the hydrocarbon sector. Agriculture also received a boost with the MoU focused on collaboration in farming and allied sectors, paving the way for innovation and growth in food security. An MoU for a cultural exchange program from 2024 to 2027 was signed. India's digital payment systems, Unified Payment Interface and RuPay are set to expand into Guyana through a commercial arrangement, advancing digital financial inclusion. Additionally, a partnership in the field of pharmaceuticals aims to promote affordable generic medicines, further enhancing healthcare accessibility. An MoU between CDSCO, as we mentioned earlier, and the Ministry of Health of Guyana on cooperation in the field of medicine products. Also, the India-STAC MoU on cooperation in the field of sharing successful digital solutions was implemented at a population scale, in fact, for digital transformation. The MoU on cooperation and collaboration in the field of broadcasting was also signed between Prasar Bharati and the National Network Communications of Guyana, and it was signed. An MoU also between the National Defence Institute of Guyana and the Raksha University of Gujarat was signed. Addressing the press after the signing of these MoUs, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi thanked the President of Guyana, Dr. Irfan Ali, for the grand welcome. The Prime Minister said that both nations have identified multiple new initiatives to strengthen relations. The Prime Minister said that close defense cooperation reflects the deep mutual trust between the two countries.
दोनों देशों के कृषि अनुसंधान संस्थानों के बीच सहयोग बढ़ाने पर भी सहमत हुए। कृषि के क्षेत्र में आज किए जा रहे MoU से हमारे प्रयासों को बल मिलेगा। भारत फार्मा प्रोडक्ट्स के लिए गयाना का महत्वपूर्ण स्रोत है। हम फार्मा एक्सपोर्ट्स बढ़ाने के साथ साथ गयाना में जन औषधि केंद्र बनाने पर भी काम करेंगे।
PM Modi also said that India's energy security will play an important role. The Prime Minister stressed that to increase trade and mutual cooperation, both nations will continually make efforts.
एनर्जी सिक्योरिटी में गयाना की अहम भूमिका होगी। इस संदर्भ में लॉन्ग टर्म पार्टनरशिप के लिए एक खाका तैयार किया जाएगा। इस विषय पर आज किए जा रहे MoU से हमारा सहयोग और सुदृढ़ होगा। मुझे खुशी है कि गयाना भारत द्वारा लिए गए इंटरनेशनल सोलर अलायंस, कोएलिशन फॉर डिजास्टर रेजिलिएंट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, ग्लोबल बायोफ्यूल अलायंस जैसे इनिशिएटिव से जुड़ा हुआ है। इससे हम पूरे विश्व में ग्रीन और सस्टेनेबल फ्यूचर की ओर बढ़ने के प्रयासों को सशक्त कर सकेंगे।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi also lauded President Dr. Irfan Ali's effort in recognizing Indian traditions and culture. The Prime Minister thanked the Indian community of Guyana for making strides in several sectors.
180 वर्ष पहले भारत से यहाँ आए लोगों ने हमारे संबंधों की आधारशिला रखी है। राष्ट्रपति इरफान अली स्वयं भारतीय समुदाय के बहुत बड़े ब्रांड एम्बेसडर हैं। जिस धूमधाम से यहाँ फगवा का पर्व मनाया जाता है, वह भारत और गयाना की संस्कृतियों के अद्भुत संगम को दर्शाता है। इस तरह के अनेक उदाहरण गयाना में कदम कदम पर दिखाई पड़ते हैं। आज हम दोनों देशों के बीच 2027 तक कल्चरल एक्सचेंज एग्रीमेंट पर सहमति बनी है। इससे हमारे पीपल टू पीपल टाइज और मजबूत होंगे।
Addressing the press meet following the exchange of MoUs, the Guyanese President Mohammad Irfan Ali said that India's expertise in the field of vaccines, urban development will be part of cooperation between the two nations.
We are also pursuing having vaccine manufacturing here in Guyana to serve all of the region. India is a giant in this field, and that presents tremendous opportunity for us here in Guyana, and this will be part of the collaboration. Urban development, as our development continue to advance and expand, urban development is important. India again has tremendous expertise in urban planning and development, and they will be lending that expertise to Guyana as we seek to advance our own development here. The innovation, digitization, technology transfer, those are key elements of what we are going to work on. The transfer of technology, the rolling out of our own 2030 digitization plan to improve governance, efficiency, reliability, the advancement in our healthcare system, focusing on telemedicine. Those are also areas that are key to India development, in which they have mastered the art of providing these services, and we will be beneficiary of those services.
President Ali also said that India can further support Guyana in the field of food security, agriculture and research.
For Guyana and the regional development, that will further expand our cooperation in these areas. For example, in food security, India's support in advancing our rice industry through technology, innovation, and research. India has also committed to supporting us in our sugar industry, not only from an infrastructure perspective, but also from a human resource and technical perspective. They will support us in expanding our corn, soya, and looking at wheat farming and production here in Guyana, food processing, and important to all of this is research and development.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Irfan Ali planted a sapling in Georgetown under the Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam initiative celebrating motherhood. In a very special gesture, the President of Guyana was accompanied by his grandmother and mother-in-law. Wonderful to see his grandmother alive and well. And still to come here on DD India News Hour. The US shuts its embassy in Ukraine, citing a threat of air attack. Putin aide warns the West against the direct military confrontation. Hong Kong's pro-democracy tycoon Jimmy Lai testifies for the first time in a landmark trial. And President Putin of Russia gives zoo animals, including a lion and bears, to a zoo in North Korea. geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Mark Lynn. The Ukraine-Russia conflict remains a focal point of global concern. The U.S. support of Ukraine for striking deep into Russian territory has heightened tensions. Let's look at this next report.
It's been more than 1,000 days since the Russia-Ukraine conflict began dominating global discourse. Amid growing fears of escalation, the U.S. Embassy temporarily closed operations in Ukraine's capital city, Kyiv, after receiving specific intelligence about a potential significant air attack. This development follows the United States' decision to allow Ukraine to strike targets deep inside Russia using American-made weapons. Ukraine recently targeted a Russian weapons arsenal in the Bryansk region with attack missiles or the Army tactical missile systems, marking the first time these missiles were fired across the border. The Biden administration's significant policy shift prompted a response from Russian President Vladimir Putin, who on Tuesday signed a decree expanding the circumstances under which Moscow could use nuclear weapons against a non-nuclear state, if that state is supported by nuclear powers. The US has not adjusted its nuclear posture in response to Russia's updated doctrine. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and his advisors are preparing for the possibility of a second Trump presidency, as the candidate has expressed criticism of US aid to Kyiv in the past. Bureau Report, DD India.
The Russian President Vladimir Putin's spy chief has warned the West on Wednesday that it risks disastrous consequences if the United States and its European allies stoke a direct military confrontation with Russia over Ukraine. Sergei Naryashkin, the head of Russia's Foreign Intelligence Service, said that Russia would punish any NATO member that helps Ukraine strike deep into Russia with long-range weapons. With Russian forces advancing into Ukraine, Moscow says that it will achieve all its aims, including demilitarization of Ukraine. But Ukraine downplays these threats of an imminent large-scale missile threat after several foreign embassies in Kiev closed down for the day, citing a potential strike. But Ukraine's President Zelensky has told a U.S. television channel that he fears that he might lose the war against Russia.
I think we will lose. Of course, anyway, we will stay, we will fight. We have our production, but it's not enough to prevail. And I think it's not enough to survive. But that will be, if such choice will be American choice, so we will decide what we will have to do.
Well, the U.S. President-elect Donald Trump is forging ahead with his cabinet selections and policy plans as his transition gains some momentum. From healthcare reform to economic strategies, Trump's latest announcements promise a mix of continuity and innovation. Nupur Praveen reports.
US President-elect Donald Trump isn't just building a cabinet. He's assembling a cast for what promises to be a headline-making presidency. Donald Trump has tapped celebrity doctor Mehmet Oz, a Turkish-American doctor, to lead the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Service, an agency that is responsible for the healthcare of millions of Americans. Dr. Oz transitioned from cardiothoracic surgery to television fame via The Oprah Winfrey Show and his 13-season Emmy-winning show, The Dr. Oz Show. Oz is another addition to the unconventional health team after Trump tabbed Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as Secretary of Department of Health and Human Services. Together they will target what Trump calls the illness industrial complex. The billionaire co-founder of World Wrestling Entertainment, Linda McMahon, has been appointed as Education Secretary in the new Trump administration. She is a long-time Trump supporter and brings loyalty and experience to the role. She is also the co-chair of Trump's transition team. Trump has chosen Howard Lutnick, CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald, to lead the Commerce Department. Lutnick shares Trump's vision of bringing back manufacturing jobs and integrating cryptocurrency into US economic policy. Trump also joined his closest ally at the moment, Elon Musk, on Tuesday at SpaceX's latest Starship test launch in Texas, signaling interest in space exploration. Meanwhile, in New York, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office has delayed sentencing in Trump's hush money case, giving prosecutors time to counter his expected dismissal motion. This marks another legal hurdle for the president-elect. From reshaping healthcare to rethinking the economy, Donald Trump's transition is as controversial as it is ambitious. As January approaches, the world is watching to see how these bold choices will define his presidency. Nupur Praveen for DD India.
The jailed Hong Kong media tycoon Jimmy Lai defended his newspaper Apple Daily as a strong advocate for democracy and freedom during his national security trial on Wednesday. Lai stated that the core values of the newspaper, such as the rule of law, democracy, freedom of speech, religion and assembly, reflect the principles held by the people of Hong Kong. While Beijing has slammed Lai as an agent and a lackey of anti-Chinese forces, the Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lin Jian has said that Lai, in fact, is the main plotter, the main participant of the anti-China chaos in Hong Kong. The case centers around articles in the newspaper that had supported huge, sometimes violent pro-democracy protests in 2019 and criticized Beijing's leadership. The 76-year-old has been imprisoned for nearly 4 years and could face a life sentence. A Russian government delegate, Alexander Kozlov, met North Korean officials in Pyongyang on Tuesday. During the visit, both the countries discussed bilateral cooperation in different fields, including trade, economy, science and technology. The meeting came after South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol at the G20 summit in Rio de Janeiro had urged the two countries to end their military cooperation. He's talking about the Russia-Ukraine conflict and North Korea taking part in it. Now, the Russians have transferred over 70 animals to North Korea on Wednesday. These include an African lion as well as 2 brown bears. This is to a zoo in Pyongyang. From Moscow Zoo, the animals were a gift from the Russian President Putin to the people of the DPRK. A court in Pakistan granted bail to the jailed former Prime Minister Imran Khan in a case relating to the illegal sale of state gifts. That's what his party said on Wednesday. Now, the cricketer turned politician has been in prison since August of 2023. But it was not immediately clear if the embattled politician would be released, given that he faces a number of other charges as well, including inciting violence against the state. However, the ruling Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz Party said that Imran Khan lacked bail. He was not able to get bail in cases in which he is charged with planning riots by his supporters in the wake of his arrest in May last year. The former Prime Minister denies any wrongdoing. He says that these are all politically motivated cases. Pakistan's military said on Wednesday that a suicide attack in northwest Pakistan killed 12 soldiers following a separate clash that left 8 people dead in the same region bordering Afghanistan. The army said that 6 militants died in an exchange of fire between them and the soldiers right before the suicide attack in Banu. In other news from around the world, a baby eagle has hatched in the Philippines with the help of artificial insemination. The baby eagle is under observation after it hatched on the 11th of November, sparking hope that the critically endangered species can survive from extinction. It can be saved. A video footage showed the chick number 30 hatching out of its shell at the newly opened National Bird Breeding Sanctuary in the southern city of Davao. Uganda's opposition politician Kizza Besigye was kidnapped from Kenya and transferred to Uganda this week. Now, his wife posted a message on social media platform X on Wednesday informing about his whereabouts at the military jail in Kampala. Besigye has run against Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni in 4 elections and has lost each time, although he rejects these results, saying that they are fraud and they were the result of voter intimidation. The International Criminal Court has sentenced a Mali police official to 10 years in jail for crimes against humanity committed in the city of Timbuktu. Now, he was convicted in June for crimes for crimes including torture, when he was a member of the feared Ansar Dine Islamist militant group that seized control of Timbuktu for almost a year from the early 2012s. A white blanket of snow enveloped the Swiss Jura Mountains on Wednesday, marking the season's first snowfall. Swiss weather forecast is expecting 40 centimeters of snow in this region on Thursday. Still to come on DD India News Hour, India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh visits the Lao PDR for the ASEAN Defence Ministers Meeting Plus. And India holds regional elections in the states of Jharkhand and Maharashtra. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Mark Lynn. Here's a recap of our main stories. At the India-CARICOM Summit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi proposes comprehensive partnership with Caribbean nations, redefines CARICOM from capacity building to cricket. India and Guyana strengthen partnership through a series of agreements. They ink MoUs in the fields of health, hydrocarbons, agriculture, digital payments and pharmaceuticals. And the 55th edition of the International Film Festival of India opens to a glittering opening ceremony in Goa. Prasar Bharati launches an OTT platform. It's called Waves. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh is in Lao PDR for the 11th ASEAN Defence Ministers Plus meeting. Now, it is the highest defence consultative as well as cooperative mechanism in ASEAN. And while addressing the Indian community there, in fact, the minister said that after 2014, India's stature has grown in this forum.
2014 के बाद इंटरनेशनल कम्युनिटी में भारत का स्टेचर बढ़ा है। पहले भारत इंटरनेशनल फोरम पर कुछ बोलता था तो भारत की बातों को जितनी सीरियसली लिया जाना चाहिए, जितनी गंभीरतापूर्वक लिया जाना चाहिए, नहीं लिया जाता था। लेकिन आज इंटरनेशनल फोरम पर भारत कुछ बोलता है तो सारी दुनिया कान खोलकर सुनती है कि भारत बोल क्या रहा है। यह भारत की है, यह कोई छोटी बात नहीं है। अब हमारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर को प्राइम मिनिस्टर का सम्मान यदि दुनिया के देश में होता है, इसका मतलब प्राइम मिनिस्टर जिस कंट्री का प्राइम मिनिस्टर है, उस कंट्री का सम्मान हो रहा है.
Well, on the sidelines of the talks, Minister Singh also met his Chinese counterpart, and it was the first such meeting during the recent disengagement. This is following the recent disengagement, as well as the meeting of Prime Minister Narendra Modi with the Chinese President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of the BRICS summit. Minister Singh highlighted that amicable relations between India and China would have a positive implication for global peace and prosperity, considering that both countries are and will continue to remain neighbors. He said that they need to focus on cooperation rather than conflict. Minister Singh also met his counterparts from Malaysia and Laos PDR, and during this meeting with the Malaysian minister, both sides agreed to support each other's endeavors to arrive at a meaningful outcome to promote security and stability in the region. Minister Singh also complimented Laos PDR for its efficient and inclusive leadership as the chair of ASEAN this year. These meetings are aimed, in fact, at further enhancing bilateral defense cooperation with these countries. Let's get you updates from the second day of the Sanyukt Vimochan 2024. The Indian Army is conducting the annual exercise with friendly foreign countries at Porbandar on India's western coast. This year's theme is Cyclone in coastal region of Gujarat. In an exercise simulating a cyclone, choppers, inflatable boats, as well as sniffer dogs and drones all pitched in. Nandita Dagar has the report.
Sanyukt Vimochan 2024. This is the annual humanitarian assistance and disaster relief exercise which is being led by the Army, and it is aimed at improving the synergy and coordination between various agencies, which includes the Navy, the Air Force, the Coast Guard, the State Disaster Response Force, the local weather departments, police, etc., the district administration, in providing succor to the people in the wake of a cyclone. So here there is a simulation of a very, very severe cyclone on the western coast of India between Porbandar and Okha, in the coastal state of Gujarat, and that is how the Army is demonstrating. The Navy has pressed in its assets, including the Coast Guard. The Army has deployed bridges like the Sarvatra and Bailey bridges, set up mobile hospitals or hospitals on wheels, a joint command and control center. The Air Force has winched up survivors on the rooftops of houses with the help of winching on a B-17, B-5 helicopter. The survivors are also being zip-lined from a building they were stranded on. Also, Gemini boats of the State Disaster Response Force are transferring the casualties from these affected areas via the sea to the Navy's hospital ship Talwar, because the area has been cut off, and of course there are no roads and bridges or routes to this place. So this is the entire scenario, the simulation, and all made in India assets are being deployed here. For example, the helipad for the Mi-17 and ALH helicopters is a polymer helipad which has been made completely in India. The drones that have been deployed for surveillance, the Drishti remotely piloted aircraft, that is made in India. So several assets are made in India in this exercise, Sanyukt Vimochan, and 10 partner friendly countries have also sent representatives, and they are also witnessing the exercise. With camera person Jagmohan Pradhan in Porbandar in Gujarat, this is Nandita Dagar for DD India.
58.43% of the voters exercised their franchise on Wednesday in the assembly elections in Maharashtra, where the ruling BJP-led Mahayuti alliance is vying to retain power, and the Maha-Vikas Aghadi combine is hoping for a comeback. Meanwhile, about 68% of the voters had showed their turnout. That was recorded till 5 p.m. on Wednesday in 38 assembly constituencies in Jharkhand, another state going to the polls, but this is the second phase of their polls. Voting for 288 seats of Maharashtra, the elections we talked about earlier, was held in a single phase, and Jharkhand went to polls in two phases. The second phase was held today. And here, candidates are contesting across 38 constituencies in 12 districts. The counting of votes to both these states will take place on Saturday. Well, the first phase of the Jharkhand Assembly polls was held for 43 of 81 seats. That happened on November 13. In a move to strengthen India's foothold in the West Asian organic market, the Agricultural and Processed Food Products Export Development Authority under India's Ministry of Commerce has showcased a strong Indian presence at the 22nd Middle East Organic and Natural Products Expo in Dubai. The APEDA, it coordinated the participation of 18 Indian companies, including 12 under its banner and 6 participating independently. These companies exhibited a wide array of value-added organic and natural products at the Indian Pavilion. The event, held at the Dubai World Trade Center, witnessed significant growth this year with over 550 exhibitors, a remarkable 83% increase from the previous edition.
Is Agricultural and Processed Food Products Export Development Authority under Ministry of Commerce, and we have the mandate of promoting agri-exports from the country. When I say agri-exports from the country, we have 700 plus products in our basket. This is the first time APEDA is participating in this exhibition to showcase India's strength in organic sector, as well as to exploring the Middle East market and promote Indian products in the Middle East market and GCC countries.
A group of 26 Nepali diplomats and officers from across 10 key ministries and departments of the government of Nepal, they are visiting India. And this is from the 20th to the 30th of November. They are participating in what's called the first special training program at the Ministry of External Affairs, New Delhi. The Deputy Chief of Mission at the Indian Embassy, Prasanna Srivastava, interacted with the diplomats and officers prior to their visit to India. The training program will include modules on issues of global political and economic relevance, trade and connectivity, climate change and humanitarian assistance, development partnership, shared culture and heritage, and also include visits to cities and places of historical and tourist interest outside New Delhi. The Indian Foreign Secretary is scheduled to visit Dhaka in mid-December. He's going to be leading the Indian delegation there for the next round of India-Bangladesh Foreign Office consultations, the FOC. Now, this is what the Foreign Affairs Advisor of Bangladesh, Taoud Hussain, has said on Wednesday evening. Now, he also said that he believes Dhaka-Delhi are advancing towards normal bilateral relations, and the FOC will be the first step in that direction. This is what the Sangbad Sangstha of Bangladesh has reported, which is a state-run news agency. And now he expressed optimism that Dhaka and New Delhi could move forward pragmatically and realistically to restore ties to a completely normal level. During the visit, the Foreign Secretary of India, Vikram Misri, is expected to pay a courtesy call on Bangladesh's Foreign Affairs Advisor. This is again reported by the BSS. Now, the last annual FOC was held on the 24th of November last year, 2023. The global rating agency Moody's has revised its ratings for 6 Bangladeshi banks, citing concerns over the country's recent sovereign downgrade. The banks affected are Brak Bank, Citibank, Dutch Bangla Bank, Eastern Bank, Mercantile Bank and Premier Bank. Moody's has revised these outlooks on the long-term deposit ratings of all 6 banks to negative from stable. Earlier this week, Moody's had downgraded Bangladesh's long-term ratings to B2 from B1, marking the second consecutive downgrade in under 2 years. The short-term ratings were affirmed at not prime. The rating agency also revised Bangladesh's GDP growth forecast, projecting a slowdown to 4.5% from the earlier estimate of 6.3% for the current fiscal year. For the next fiscal year, the projection has been lowered to 5.8% from 6%. Okay, here's some other news now. And coal import by non-regulated sectors and domestic coal-based thermal power plants had dropped 9.83% to 63.28 million tons during the April to September period of the current financial year. This highlights India reducing its dependency on imported coal by boosting domestic production and improving the logistics. Over 1,76 lakh students from India, from the Indian states and union territories, participated in Project Veer Gata 4.0. This is organized by the Ministry of Education. During this project, school students did creative activities to honor the acts of bravery and sacrifice of the Indian Armed Forces. The second edition of the India-Japan Joint Service Staff Talks between Headquarters Integrated Defence Staff of India and the Japan Self-Defence Force concluded in Delhi on Wednesday. The key initiative of the forum was to enhance defence cooperation through high-level operational meeting between both the countries. Still to come here on DD India News Hour. IFFI opens in India. The inauguration ceremony celebrates India's rich cultural and cinematic heritage. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Mark Lynn. There's good news for OTT lovers. Now one can watch their favorite shows and classic content, in fact, from Prasar Bharati, India's public broadcaster. Prasar Bharati has launched its own OTT platform. It's called Waves. It offers a broad spectrum of entertainment and news content. One just needs a smartphone to download the app, and that too on Android and iOS platforms. So the OTT platform, it aims to cater to a wide audience with a mix of live channels, movies, TV shows, and more.
The 55th edition of the International Film Festival of Goa kicked off in grand style with the launch of many firsts and new initiatives in order to cater the global cinema market. And in a significant development for the Indian digital media landscape, Prasar Bharati's much-awaited OTT platform went live during IFFI with its official launch at the prestigious international festival.
As the audiences have discovered the newer media of consuming content, digital is one medium which has gained quite a lot of prominence in these days and times. So it is only fitting that Prasar Bharati also forays into this domain. And one of the advantages of this would be also that the content would be available to all audiences, even if they are in the remotest parts of the country or even outside the country. There is a lot of demand for Indian content across the board, across the world. The Indian settlers in various countries also remember their times here in India through these programs. And of course, they want to keep updated with the news, with the entertainment of Indian origin. We will also be making provisions for sharing some of the informative content that is being produced by the ministries of Government of India, by various state governments, and some rare archival material of photographs, of magazines and journals and e-books. We would also be providing facilities for e-games. So, e-shopping, which is also gaining a lot of prominence these days, is also going to be a part of Waves. So there is something for everyone, and I would request the audiences to download Waves later today and be a part of this experience of this entertainment की नई लहर.
दूरदर्शन तो हमारे खून में था, अब वेव हमारी सांसों में होगा. मतलब अच्छी बात है. इनसे सारी चीज़ें बहुत जगह सिनेमा पहुंचती हैं.
Prasar Bharati's OTT platform is poised to offer a diverse range of content, including live channels, archival footage, and original programming to the audience. The platform also focuses on family-friendly content, aiming to provide a wholesome viewing experience for audiences of all ages. Talking about the benefits of content creators, interestingly, the content creator will retain the IP rights. The OTT platform further aims at creating a marketplace to showcase its vast archive of over 2,000 titles, including a treasure trove of heritage photos. Deepika Mehto's report for DD India.
This is a preview file.
The French actress Marianne Bordeaux, she worked for a Hindi film and got featured not only at the IFFI 2024 but also at the recently held Cannes Film Festival. And the film director talks about the journey of Indian film and Bollywood, how it connects with Indian culture and the world. Let's listen.
France, shooting in India, shooting about India. How has the experience been so far for you?
Well, I'm lucky. I've discovered India in '77 and I come to India every year. And in fact, I've been attending IFFI for many, many years. So going to Pondicherry was not new for me. But to have this beautiful part with Raghunath was absolutely very exciting. Especially, it's very moving and shooting in India is wonderful.
And you know, from Cannes Film Festival to India, to International Film Festival of India, how do you look at this transformational journey of yours?
Well, what I love about India is the chaos, but also the mystical part that we don't have in France anymore. So for me, you know, everything here is mystic and it's wonderful.
Well, the 55th edition of the International Film Festival of India is on. It began with a picturesque opening ceremony in Goa, which is in the west of India. And cinema lovers have already queued up outside the theatres to catch that opening film, The Better Man. This report from Deepika tells us more.
The 55th edition of IFFI opened with grand style in Goa, showcasing a rich landscape of cinema and culture. Speaking on the occasion, the Chief Minister expressed his delight on continuing the legacy of hosting IFFI in Goa.
IFFI और गोवा एक दूसरे के हो गए. कोई गोवा को याद करता है तो IFFI याद आती है और IFFI को याद करता है तो गोवा याद आता है. हमेशा के लिए IFFI ने गोवा को बहुत कुछ दिया. तो ग्लोबल प्लेटफॉर्म पे ये गोवा को पहुंचाया है. इतना सारा अच्छा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर यहाँ पे क्रिएट किया है. और ऑलवेज आई वेलकम्स द इंटरनेशनल एंड नेशनल guests, those who are coming specially for this IFFI, especially the directors, actors, actresses, those who are coming to see the movies, to see the IFFI.
जुनि सभं गुरु प्रसाद जप आद सच जुगाद सच है भी सच नानक होसी भी सच।
नागेन्द्रहाराय त्रिलोचनाय भस्मांगरागाय महेश्वराय नित्याय शुद्धाय दिगंबराय तस्मै नकाराय नमः शिवाय।
करुणी वंदन किदा मांडून किदा देवाला किदा गावाला किदा पाटाला किदा मंडळीला आम्ही सांगतो नमन तुम्ही ऐका हो तुम्ही जन
The Minister of Information and Broadcasting, Ashwini Vaishnaw, shared his thoughts through a video message.
I welcome all the delegates from across the world to the IFFI 2024. Friends, IFFI, as we call it, has become a very important milestone in the development of film industry in India. We in India at this point of time are very much focused on developing the content creators economy. We have a very vibrant creators economy where people are coming up with very innovative content, showcasing some of the rich heritage of India, the cuisines of India, the culture of India, some of the gems of Indian language and literature are being presented by the content creators in very interesting ways. So we believe that with the addition of technology and the development of the creators ecosystem, India can play a major role in the way the creators economy is shaping up. We welcome you all to this edition of IFFI, and we hope that your stay in Goa will be very interesting. We hope that you'll find new partnerships and develop new ideas here. We hope that some of the youngsters will get mentors. We hope also that many of the ideas that you share with us will help us shape the direction of the industry in the coming years. Thank you very much. Wish you all the very best.
The Secretary to the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting spoke on the importance of the event and how IFFI is adding more to the world.
IFFI is a great medium for us to take this content outside. And when it comes to Film Bazaar, the idea is that the future is now.
Absolutely.
This festival is actually dedicated to the young filmmakers. And the idea was to get the young filmmakers the right market. And that's why the Film Bazaar is a huge property this year. Yes. We have close to 1,600 entries.
That's incredible.
And some of these are at the initial stage, story stage, co-production stage. All these movies are now on offer for somebody to co-produce. A lot of people have come from world over. Plus we also have the Creative Minds of Tomorrow, where 100 finally selected entries have now come here to IFFI to show their wares. And that's again a huge promise that these guys have for our future. So cinema is definitely being given out to the next generation in a befitting manner is our point. Yes. When it comes to Film Bazaar.
Prasar Bharati, who's the official broadcaster of IFFI, made special arrangements to make this event look grand and accessible to each part of the country. Red carpet always remains the main attraction of IFFI, and this time around, the event was passed with the walk-in of not only just the celebrated stars from across the world, but also young and creative minds, debutantes, and female filmmakers in large numbers. Apart from that, the event also witnessed a special act by the country of focus, Australia, to touch the historical perspective. A A special performance by Sunny Kaushal and Sania Malhotra enthralled the spectators that showcased the journey of Indian cinema. And the 55th edition of International Film Festival of India, IFFI 2024, kick-started with grand celebrations, great interactions with mega stars, and the peak of celebration of Indian cinema with the world. With camera person Alok, this is Deepika reporting for DD India.
Well, that's all we have in this edition of DD India News Hour. Let's know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, get the latest news and updates from India and across the world on our mobile app, which is available on Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code and download it. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. My name is Mark Lin. From all of us here in Delhi, thank you very much for watching DD India News Hour. Namaskar.